So just bear with me a second and I'll explain what's going on just after this bit. Dude, I'm not causing any trouble. I'm the guy that gave you that coat. This rain isn't letting up, you know. It's only going to get heavier. If you get soaked, you're only going to be cold tonight, man. Sorry?
Take the shelter up there and then there's not. I get moved on by the police. I've got nowhere else to go.
There's a tree over there, man.
Pardon?
Could you not just... Alright. Alright, man, but this rain is not getting any better. Just to make things a little bit more cheerful, here's a kid on a bike that's almost as tall as him. Okay. My dates are a bit jumbled because of various different equipment problems. I think this is from the micro SD card that I lost. I found it. I was making a coffee and in the kitchen the worktop is black and so is micro SD card, so I didn't see it, and then I was just like, what's that? Oh, awesome. So this is it's definitely over a week old footage. What you just saw was me getting a little bit frustrated with a homeless guy. That was the homeless guy that I gave a sleeping bag to. I gave him a big jacket, which is what he was under, which was a waterproof jacket. Almost got cardboard. And a bag to put it all in, and I got him a coffee, and I got him some hot soup. And the day after, I think it was the day after, I saw him with this sleeping bag sort of wrapped around him, trying to look all pathetic to get money. And the bag that I gave to him had disappeared, and then the next time I saw him, the sleeping bag had disappeared too. So the coat that I gave him was like the thickest coat you could ever imagine. Like, I bought that when I was out in serious temperatures, and that was the only thing that would keep me warm. So during the day there is absolutely no need for him to wrap a sleeping bag around him, especially not a 3-season sleeping bag that I bought to go to sleep at the bottom of Snowdon in November. There was no need for that, so the reason that he had it wrapped around with him and not put in the bag it was designed to go into was to look pathetic and to get money off of people. Which is understandable, but if you don't look after things like the sleeping bag or the bag that it goes in and the bag that I gave him to keep everything in, then you're either going to lose it or it's going to get wet and then you're not going to want it or something like that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is after that day I went home. I'm at TGI Fridays now, as you can see, and there's quite a long wait, so I've got the opportunity to talk about this. After I saw him that day, I went home and I made him some food and went back out again. He wasn't there, so I gave the food to 2 other homeless people. And then eventually I did see him later, so I bought him some food again. And when I gave him the food, I said to him, "Where'd the sleeping bag go?" He was like, "Oh, someone nicked it." It's like, really? Somebody nicked a sleeping bag that a homeless man's been sleeping in? I very much doubt it, but whatever. And where's the bag gone that I gave you to put it in? Oh yeah, someone nicked that too. Really? Yeah, okay, whatever. So they forgot dessert here. It's a sealed bag, so it's not possible to check the contents from TGI Fridays because they seal it. But she realised, and she comes back out now and says, "I've got to go and get the dessert." So that's what she does. Basically, all I'm saying is I've washed my hands of that guy now. I tried to help him about 4 different times, and he just basically, I don't know. I guess some people just get... It's a problem that society can't ignore, but that guy in particular, he doesn't even want to help himself. If he's going to lie out in an open area in the rain, knowing full well that he's going to have to sleep in cold, wet clothes that night, then if he's not prepared to help himself, then I give up with him. And the reason, I don't know if how well the audio came out, but what I said to him is, look, there's a big tree, like 15 meters away. Why not sit under that whilst it's raining? And his answer was that the police would move him along, and I think that's ridiculous. You don't very often see police there, and you could hide behind the tree anyway. I don't know. He was just pathetic. He was either pathetic or stupid, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but he's annoyed me because I've given him, I don't know, I wouldn't even like to put a financial value on that coat. The sleeping bag, the bag that it went in, the food that I gave him, I also gave him some clothes, and that day that I went there and I was talking to him when he was lying in the rain, I actually stopped the camera and I went and got some cardboard and covered him up to try and keep the rain off his feet that were exposed, and the rest of him. And then when I went back the next day, he had gone, but he left the cardboard there. It's just like, isn't that a bit disrespectful to just, I don't know. Anyway, enough of homeless people. I did film that little kid. I couldn't resist it because that bike was absolutely huge and he was riding it. I found that quite amusing. A little bit dangerous, but we've all done stupid things. Probably wouldn't let if I had a child that big, probably wouldn't let them ride a bike. Let's see if I can do this without making too much noise. Ride a bike that big. Okay, it looks like it is recording this time. This is actually take 2, because yesterday I did this. Because I wanted to get this video out, and when I finished the video it hadn't recorded, and I'm not sure whose fault that is, but obviously it's my fault, but I don't know if it's equipment or stupidity. Anyway, moving on swiftly. What have we got talked about today? So I'm going to talk about more of the commentary on the video because not a lot's going on. Deliveroo have just blatantly blanked me, so I'm a little bit annoyed about them. HMRC haven't got back to me, which I'm a little bit annoyed about because the guy promised that he would get back to me even if the answer was not the answer that I wanted, and Uber Eats haven't got back to me either. So as I get closer and closer to my deadline of wrapping everything up, because I'm off to Asia, I'm not really gonna chase up this HMRC much more, just because I'm running out of time. I've got a little calendar. I've got 4 weeks and 5 days until I'm out of here, and I've got to schedule in there at least one big project which I have to finish before I go, which is not delivery related, and also the 2-week earn as much money as you can, which is quite convenient because I actually need money. What else? And one other project I would like to do if I have time, but I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't get the chance to do it. So where are we off to now? Oh, I think I go through into Caversham. I get to go over that pedestrian bridge in Reading, the new one, which I really hated because I thought it was ridiculous because it's in between 2 road bridges, and what Reading really needs is another road bridge because there's so much traffic. Because there's only those 2 bridges going over the Thames. The next one is in Sonning, which is a little country village, so it's always gridlocked. So the people that live in these £1 million houses can't get in or out of their town because everyone uses it as a rat run. And the next one is bloody miles away in the other direction. I think the story with that is that the place that they wanted to build it is actually in Oxfordshire, but because it doesn't benefit Oxfordshire, I don't know if this is a rumour or if it's true, but supposedly the Oxfordshire council said, no, it's not in our interests. Jog on, Reading. So that's me just flipping a peace sign. So anyway, I really hated this bridge because it must be a massive waste of money. Let's see if we can find out how much it costs. Not a lot happens right now, so I've got time to do it. Cost of Caversham Foot Bridge. The new structure, which is expected to cost around £4 million, will cross the river to the east of Fry's Island between the existing Caversham and Reading bridges. Yeah, So £4 million, I probably find some better uses for it. But I have to say, it is a pretty bridge. It's quite nice at night because they light it up. But does it have £4 million of value to Reading? I don't know. Really, the only thing it's there for is because of the housing boom in Reading. They built a load of houses in Caversham because Caversham is close to Reading train station. I go underneath the Reading train station. These guys just were either rude or just weren't looking. Because Caversham's close to Reading train station, so they wanted to make it all commuter friendly. So they slapped this bridge down because one side of it goes straight to the back entrance of the Reading station, which is kind of like the main entrance now, because they made that all fancy. And the other side of this bridge leads to very residential area. So you've got directly in front of you, there's like loads of houses. Wherever you look, left, right, or straight on, there's houses everywhere in Caversham. But you've got like this band of houses, and lots of new ones have popped up on the left, and then past that you go into like Caversham Park Village. That there is a child, and I give it as much space as possible because children on paths or roads are ticking time bombs. You just want to keep the hell away from them. They change course without a second's thought or without looking, and their owners don't look for them, and then they run underneath you. And no matter whose fault it is, there is no getting away with running over a little kid. Even if you don't hurt it, it cries, and then you look like the bad guy no matter what happens. So just keep the hell away from them. The little ticking time bombs. So all of these houses to my left now are all new. Well, I say new. I think 5 years, which isn't very new, but I've lived in Reading a long time, on and off. So to me, they're new. Pretty much the whole of Caversham is residential. There's not really much in the way of businesses and stuff. Yep, so I just go in here. I do leave the gate open, but I come back in a little bit. Excuse me. So yeah, like I said, I made this yesterday and it didn't work. And I think this video is 1 hour and 2 minutes. I think I do about 3 deliveries, or it ends on the 3rd delivery, I think. We'll see, I can't remember, even though it was only yesterday that I watched it. It's already edited, so I've just got to do this. This is one of the longest parts. Then I've got to render it, and then I've got to get it uploaded. So it will be tonight, or rather it will be tomorrow morning, but I don't need to wake up particularly early tomorrow so I can get it done. That is one of the new MX-5s, and I really like them. I had a Mark 1 MX-5 when I was about around 21, and that was my favourite car that I've ever owned. It was green. I would say racing green, but it wasn't British, so it can't really be British racing green. But it was that colour green, and its registration was JJ, so I called it JJ, and I love that car. Had some very, very, very good times in that car. I say it's an MX-5, it was actually Yunos Roadster, because it was imported from Japan, but it was the, I can't remember what it was called, something like it was a top spec anyway. It had like speakers in the headrests and stuff like that. I did love that car. I broke it, but I did love it. And now I was just talking to this lady about it, because that new one looks proper sexy. I must admit, if I had another one, it probably would be a Mark 1. But my god, that looks good. I know it's a girl's car, but I don't care. So, what are we going to talk about today? What did I talk about yesterday, and how can I make it sound genuine and not rehearsed, because I've already said it once? So now I'm going back out into the way I came, and I do close the gate after me, and then I go back to the station. I talk about the station pass a couple of times because I quite like it, because it's a smooth path, and it's an underpass, so you don't get rained on. But let's see if I can do some questions, because it's going to take me a few minutes to get there. That YouTube guy says, video today, Craig. And I said yes, no excuses, because I was annoyed at myself from yesterday. Annoyed, that leads me to a very good point. So I won't give his name, but you guys probably, anybody on YouTube will probably know him anyway. But a well-known YouTuber who I watch daily, or at least I watch daily, has stopped doing daily YouTube videos. Stopped vlogging. And I wanted to make an apology because that fact has caused a bit of realization. Now, bearing in mind that my subscriber base is less than 0.01% or something ridiculous like that. I don't think that negates the necessity of an apology here, even if it's just to satisfy my own guilt. So this well-known YouTuber, who I won't mention, has stopped doing vlogs. And when it first happened, I was like, I knew something was up. I knew something was up with him, because like the way he was acting was just changed. And then he came out and made the announcement that he was no longer going to do daily vlogs. And I was like, okay, I'm really annoyed about this. I'm not happy about it at all, but I respect him, so yeah, okay. Alright, I'll just get used to it. Check out these crazy bikes. Strange bikes. I don't really see them serving a purpose, apart from being like, I'm trying to make a statement. Yeah, one of these kids is quite rude. He says something quite rude to me. It's something quite condescending. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's not dwell on negativity. So, yeah. So, I was sort of respecting him for his decision. Then he posted something on Twitter, and it got me thinking. It was one of these, like, GIF. Is it called a GIF? And it was like somebody who was really happy, and he says, this is what it feels like to not do daily vlogs. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm annoyed with you. I use stronger words than that, but trying to keep this PG. I was angry at the fact that his subscribers made him who he is. They financed his crazy ideas, given him enough money to live a comfortable life, and I know for a fact he would have earned literally millions of dollars from YouTube. They share his life with him. He shares it because that's what he wanted to do, or to make money, one or the other, I don't know. I thought it was because he enjoyed it. And then all of a sudden he just stops cold turkey, like that's it. Now, that's all good and well. People have the right to that. But to make a joke about it, I think is a little bit rude, considering by people giving their time to him, they accept him into their lives. It's almost like when you watch somebody on YouTube for a long time, regularly, and they make this commitment to do daily videos, you kind of accept them as a friend, and you're interested in their lives. And I'm not suggesting that I have that power like this dude has, but this is the station underpass. I really like this. You're not supposed to cycle under it, but I just cycle respectfully. Typically what I do if it's busy is I just sit behind somebody, and that is all good and well until they see me and then jump out of the way thinking that I want to get past, when actually I'm quite happy to go at their pace. And I know why people do it, because not many cyclists would do that, would just like slow down and just say, you know what, I'm just going to go with the flow. I shouldn't be cycling, so I'm just going to go with the flow. But if I'm behind a pedestrian, I don't want them to get out of my way. If I wanted them to get out of my way, I would say, excuse me, please. But that's a bit of an abstract point for this line of discussion. So yeah, to make to make a joke, to make light of the fact that you've taken away these people, you're no longer in these people's lives after they've given them their time and quite not inadvertently. What's the opposite of that? Inadvert. I'm sure I'm making myself sound like an idiot now. Quite directly are financing his life, and then to make a joke about it, I think it's just downright rude. So that got me thinking. I hadn't been doing so many videos because I hadn't worked so much, and I'm kind of running out of subjects to make other videos about. And I just wanted to make the apology because I know at least 1 or 2 people watch my videos every day, and to take that away, I think is a little bit rude of me. Because to a degree, I have been busy, but I could be better. I should be better. So just to ease my own conscience, I apologise. It's a silly responsibility that I've given myself, but if I do videos every day, then I should do videos every day, almost without exception. And YouTube is a very real part of the world. It's the second largest search engine in the world after Google, and to be honest with you, it's my first port of call. If I want someone to explain something to me and I don't want to have to read it, I'll put YouTube on and I'll listen, and if that doesn't work, then I'll Google it after that and I'll read. Or if it's something that isn't something which is visually complicated, then definitely YouTube. Even if it's not, I much prefer to have someone explain it to me, and then I can make what I want of it. Saves a lot of time that way. So I shall try to do better, and I shall try to check that it's recording when I do hour-long videos, because that was a kick in the teeth. Alright, so this is a little bit of a projection. I have actually seen a Deliveroo scooter driver going through here. It's very naughty. It was late at night, but still very naughty. And I think I'm just remembering where I'm going at the moment, because you can get into the Oracle 2 ways. Well, obviously more than 2 ways, but 2 ways here. I think I'm just trying to see what's going to be the best. So I think it's payday today. If so, I think tomorrow and Sunday are going to be busy days. I don't know if it's payday. It's the last Friday of the month. I don't know. So yes, that YouTube guy, this video, even if I have to record it 5 times, well no, that might be a bit tough. Even if I get to the end of it and my mic hasn't recorded it yet again, although it says it's recording now, I will do it again and get it up today. Even though it takes bloody ages to render and then upload, and this one's going to be an hour long, so it's going to be even longer than the half an hour and the 40-minute ones. But anyway, so I'm going to have my burger. Okay, let's do some more comments. Okay, so that YouTube guy says he had, I assume it's a he, oh guy, of course it is, silly. He had his trial today, it went well, and they assessed his bike. Did they do that for me? I quite like talking about my trainer Natalie, because she was quite cool, and I'll take that as an opportunity to talk about her again. No, she didn't check my bike, but I'd made it clear that I was a qualified, I was quite, what's the word, skilled in bike repair, and she took my word for it, even though my chain slipped a few times. But I did tell her that was because I was in the process of building the bike and I hadn't finished. But Natalie was cool, and me and Natalie are actually friends now after. Keep meaning to interview her actually. She doesn't work for Deliveroo anymore. I very much doubt I'll get the opportunity to now. Maybe I will, who knows. Then again, I don't really know what she can say now. I think I've covered pretty much everything. I've noticed, I'm going to try and interview a few girls, because I've noticed there's at least 3 girls that I don't recognise. Haven't had the opportunity to talk to them, but I just want to get their perspective on doing Deliveroo as a female, without trying to sound sexist. I'm not saying that women can't take care of themselves. I just want their point of view on how they feel, whether they feel safe or late at nights, if they've had any problems, etc., etc. Because I know if I had a 16-year-old daughter, or I certainly wouldn't want her to do Deliveroo. Not so much because of, I think I'm going to the bathroom now. Not so much because of people, it's more because of the riding on the road. I'm sure not every town would be like it, but Reading is not a very safe place to ride. Yesterday, or Thursday, oh my God, there were some maniacs around. There was heavy traffic. Okay, I didn't record me in the bathroom, obviously. Heavy traffic makes people stupider than they normally are. Yeah, so it might be nice to get their opinions on a few things. Yeah, so she didn't inspect my bike per se, but she took my word for it. And it's been a reliable beast. The only problems have been I broke, I think, 2 spokes hitting big bumps. And I got one flat, and I broke another couple of spokes after I got hit because the rim was bent. That wasn't really the bike's fault or my fault. That was the guy who hit me. Speaking of which, I haven't done anything about that yet. There's no way that I'm going to let him get away with hitting a cyclist and not damaging my bike and losing my time and not doing anything about it. I must admit I did look into doing something about it, but because I'm going away, it causes a problem. We shall see about that. Okay, so I don't know where I'm going now. Oh, I think I go the wrong way now. I get annoyed at myself because I started going one way and I was like, oh, I don't need to go this way. I don't like going up hills unnecessarily, so I changed course and then I got caught in traffic. Couldn't get across the road. It's so easy to lose concentration when you're going, and especially if you're doing other things at the same time. So next week I'm doing 51, 52, 52 and a half hours, I think. And then I've got Saturday and Sunday off because I've got some plans for Saturday and Sunday. I've got to finish something. And then the week after that I'm not sure what to apply for. And then there's 2 more weeks which I'm going to hammer. I don't want to. I must admit, I've had enough of this cold weather, I really have, but gotta make some money whilst I'm in this country. I'm not even going to pretend that this job's quite pleasant in the summer, spring and early autumn, but winter it's just unpleasant. That's just me though, not everyone's going to be the same. I just really don't like the bitter cold. Okay, so I just changed course because I realised I didn't have to go up the hill, even though it's only a slight hill. I think I'm being a bit lazy here. So Ryan says, I've just recently started working for Deliveroo and waiting for my first shift. When I collected my equipment, I did not get a small bag. No. I think it's different with the different areas, which is strange because in some of their recruitment videos, they're like, always take your bag to the door, always take it into the restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't give everyone the little bag, they only give them the backpack. Someone said that only motorbike drivers get the little bag. Personally, I'm glad. I've got the little bag because it makes it easy to keep the food level, stop it from moving around too much. So he says he can get the little bag, so I'm guessing I have to take the big bag inside with me. Do you ever have an issue with people trying to steal the big bag when you leave it outside? I'm not laughing at that comment here, I'm laughing at something it reminded me of. Somebody put on the group chat something really funny, like it's something that I can't say on this video, but something like 2 little bleeps have just stolen my bag and they were running down the road with it. I thought that was hilarious. Obviously it's not good because he would have lost his deposit and couldn't carry on working that day, but it's just the way he said it just cranked me up. No, I've never had any problems with anyone stealing my bag. Sometimes I lock it up with my bike, which is obviously an option. I've got a big chain. Here I get annoyed because I can't get across the road, and it's not very often that I have to stop or get blocked because I'm usually quite adaptable to my surroundings. So in the end I think I'll carry on going up the road and cross a little bit further up, but it annoys me. I don't like being stationary, although sometimes I have to admit that it is the best course of action. So this dude, Ryan's going to take his big bag inside. Now, even if I didn't have the little bag, I wouldn't take the big, personally, I wouldn't take the big bag into the shops because it's so big, getting through doors. I say shops, sorry, forgive me, restaurants. I wouldn't take it into restaurants because it's so big, getting through doors is a problem. Like, if you turn around, you bump into people and it's just frustrating, and it just is a complete eyesore. If I was eating in a restaurant, if somebody came in with that strapped to their back, I would be like, I'm trying to enjoy my food here, go away. So even if I didn't have the little bag, I wouldn't take the big one in. I'm not sure what Deliveroo policy is, so don't quote me on that. But I sure as hell wouldn't take it into a restaurant. And no, I've never had any problems with anyone trying to steal my bag, but I don't leave my bag for very long, or I rarely leave it for a long time. So, Richard Strong says, wouldn't it have been easier to rotate the wheel upside down when you were spraying that stuff into it, rather than spraying up? Yes, it would. But I wasn't thinking, I wanted to get back to work as soon as possible, and I was rushing. And I thought it being an aerosol can, it would be okay, and I shook it a lot, and I ended up turning the aerosol upside down, so it negated half of that problem. But yes, you are correct, it would have been better to spray it down. Anyway, it didn't work if you watch the video after that, so it didn't even matter. But you are right, it would have been better to spray it down. I don't know how to say this name, Ioan. Anyway, says he turned up for his trial, but the trainer did not. What would I advise? He said he tried to call the helpline, but they couldn't help, so I guess it's just a line then. So, there isn't a great deal of organisation within the communication between the office and the riders who do the training. And very often, at least in Reading, and I'm assuming this is a global problem because I can't think why it would be different, they schedule trials because they have so many, because they want so many staff, and there's a high rotation, and they've started firing, well, they probably did before, but I'm hearing stories of people getting fired if they don't meet their, if they repeatedly fail criteria within their contract, or they do something stupid like being, that was a cool bike, like swearing or being abusive to the managers, which is never a good idea. I won't go into that one too much. Yeah, so there's a high staff rotation, and they have a lot of trials, and they regularly organise trials for trainers when they aren't working. And when that happens, there's very little that they do about it. it happened to me, and my lead, I think my lead fixed it. I can't remember. Somebody fixed it. But I've noticed that from things that I'm hearing that sometimes things are organised very, very, very badly. And of course, the trials have the trainers' phone numbers, so some people get called up on their day off saying, "I'm waiting for you, where are you?" And then that kind of annoys the trainers because it's not their fault at all. So what I said was call them to reschedule it. And he or she, I don't know if it's he or she, I assume it's a he, says he thinks that there's no more trial shifts available. Is there any way of speeding up the process? What I would do, if that was me and I was in a hurry, I would go to where I was supposed to have my trial and wait and speak to somebody and see if I could find out who the trial was and organise it with them directly, because all they need to do is fill out a form. It doesn't need to be scheduled. Obviously that's the easiest part for it, but they still get paid. If they send in a form, then they get paid for doing that, so they'd probably be happy to do it. Or I would send a very polite text message to the number that you have for your trainer saying, is it possible to organise this ourselves, because they get paid for it. They're, depending on who they are, if it's a job's worth, then they're saying no, but if it's a relatively, look at the little cat, relatively nice person, then they're probably going to say yes, because they get £2.50 for doing it. So I don't really know. I've not been in that situation, but I just know that the best way to get what you want out of people is to be nice and, I don't know, friendly. Erno says, I'm doing my trial on Monday, what's the likelihood of getting a job? And I said, hi, if you're enthusiastic and keep up with the trainer, wear a helmet and make sure your bike is in reasonable condition. So I'm not even going to pretend that it's difficult to get a job working for Deliveroo. It isn't. If you can keep up the trainer and your bike isn't falling to pieces and you have a helmet, although you could probably speak to the trainer and say, I don't have a helmet, is it okay? Or something like that. Although I don't recommend it, because you should wear a helmet. All I'm trying to say is that you could probably get away with it if you really talk to the... I don't know. Okay, wear a helmet. Simple as that. This lady's quite funny. She's like shouting up the stairs, something like, Billy! Billy! And then she's like really polite and friendly to me. She's like, hi, Billy, hi. Anyway, moving on. Okay. Then Jefferson says, what if you don't have? We were just talking about this. What if you don't have an helmet? Would they provide you with one at Deliveroo? This is for a broke student. If they have them in stock, ordinarily I would say yes, but I've noticed that Deliveroo don't always have stock of things, and then they just don't give them to you. But yes, they do give you a helmet. They do give you a helmet, but you are supposed to have one for your trial. But like I say, if you sweet talk the trainer, you might be able to get away with it. But if it's for the trial, can't you just borrow one? I don't know. Gabriel says, how many deliveries do you make an hour? And I said, average 2 over a week. And they said, I think they're just getting paid per delivery. They said that they were hoping to do 3+, which is possible, definitely possible in the busy time. It's just the quiet times. Or if you have problems like waiting in restaurants. And also you need a busy area. If you have a really quiet area, then even if you're the fastest rider in the world, you're not going to do 3 deliveries an hour. Ibi says that Watford is £6 an hour and £2 per delivery. That's really good. It's better than us. You little putty cat. Look at the little putty cat standing next to that pile of rubbish. Putty cat. So that pile of rubbish reminds me of something. A couple of days ago I was riding and I saw a pile of black bags which obviously somebody had fly tipped. And the council would come along and put stickers on them saying something. I didn't stop to read the stickers, but I saw the word fly tipping. And it just got me thinking, like, what the hell? What purpose does that serve to put stickers, like saying "do not fly tip" or whatever on this rubbish? Like, if you've sent someone out, you've spent the time, you've spent the money on their wages, and the vehicle that's sent these people out. Why not just pick it up whilst you're out there? I mean, I'm not for fly tipping. I think it's horrible. It can ruin places of natural beauty, and it's just irresponsible and just really, it was terrible. I think it's pathetic that people would just dump rubbish. But putting stickers on them, what does that help? No idea. It did amuse me though. Okay, where are we up to? No way, are we really 40 minutes into this video? That time has flown by. I do hope it's still recording. It says it is. What things haven't I talked about? So, two things. First of all, I was considering maybe, just maybe, I might give away my bike. Look, here's a pack of those little time bombs. Look at them, all over the show. Yeah, they had a herder, which was good. Can't really complain about them. When their owners keep them in touch, then they're not too bad. But so yeah, I was thinking about maybe giving away my bike because I don't have the facility to store a great deal, and I have a it's a tough call because I've got I probably won't do this job if or when I come back. But if I did, I've got a mountain bike project which somebody completely turned this bike into a piece of crap. They made it single speed, but they didn't change it's still got a triple crank, and they just completely wrecked this bike. But it's quite a nice frame, and it's got relatively okay components. So I was thinking I might make that my next project. So if I do, I can't keep this bike too, really. And I've got a third bike as well, which is just a frame, which I was going to make into a fixie, but I might just give that away to charity. But this bike, it's a cheap bike, but I put a lot of time. I spent about 250 quid on it in the end. But I don't know what to do with it. I was thinking about saying I might do like a giveaway, but the person has to be able to meet me at the train station. I mean, the front wheel is 25 quid. The rear wheel it was 60 quid for the set, but normally they're 100, so it's 50 quid. So there's like 75 quid's worth of wheel on the bike. And it's got some quite nice components. I think the front derailleur is what is it? Tiagra, I think, maybe. Brand new bottom bracket. Well, it's done 5,000 kilometers, but brand new. Well, I suppose that isn't new at all, is it? 5,000 kilometers is quite a lot. Needs a new saddle, that's for sure. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'll think about that. Anything else that I have to talk about? The bike and... Anybody been watching Grand Tour? I saw the second episode today. Bit disappointed. A very silly episode. By all means, I'm not expecting them to make a car show, because obviously their personalities are what makes the show what it is, but it was just overstepped the mark into just absurdity, I think, today. Anyway, that's my thoughts. It did remind me of something, actually. I almost did it again. Press stop the recording. Anyway, I forgot what it reminded me of anyway. And yet again, the commentary has really been lacking, hasn't it? Oh, I forgot to talk about one important thing. I say important, it's not particularly important, but it's interesting. Bloody hell. Alright, the same dude, this Richard dude's like, you got to sort out the audio levels on your videos. That was not an old video, so I think I've done that. But wow, talk about a critic. Critical, yes, but thank you for watching my videos and thank you for commenting. Every little bit of feedback is appreciated. Here we go. Nerf Family UK. He says, I assume it's a he. I think you just need to spend more time editing out the rule breaking bits. Deliveroo will be aware riders break the law, in quotation marks. And as you stated, they must watch your videos. Obviously, they can't condone any bad riding. As your channel grows, this will be a more pressing issue, and I'm sure you're fully aware of it. Okay, and this is what I said in reply. Thank you for your considered comment, and I genuinely mean that, as I'm riding across a big chunk. Oh no, it isn't actually a red light this time. I think that was a green light that I went through because there was people on the pedestrian crossing. Yes, thank you for your considered comment, and I genuinely do mean that. I think that he obviously put time and thought into that comment, and it was, although it was kind of a criticism, but it was actually trying to benefit me, so I thank you for that. I said, I'm a big fan of showing reality. I believe I ride with respect for other road users, and for me that's enough for my conscience. Anyone that's seen my video on ethics of breaking rules, and I might live to regret that video, will know that I regularly break the highway code, but I tend to ride with my own code, for whatever that's worth. So thank you, Nerf Family UK. That was a nice thing to say, but I mean, what's the point of me cycling up to a red light, cutting the video out, and then playing it again after? If people know what I'm doing, I don't know. That's like BBC censorship, isn't it? It's like something you would see on Top Gear. I don't know. Anyway, ain't gonna happen. I might live to regret that. I'm not sure if anything could... I mean, I know I could lose my job, but you could lose your job for doing anything, so I'm not overly bothered about that. I'm talking more about the criminal aspect of it, side of it, like getting a ticket or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on, but thank you for that. This is a good question. John Dinsky. Do you have work plans after you quit? Do I? Not exactly. Leads me to my next subject quite well. I don't actually plan this, you know. You might think, well, maybe you don't think it, but I don't plan these little, I think it's called a segue, I don't know. I don't plan this, it just tends to happen that way. No, I'm doing something online which anyone, I don't really want to talk about it. If anybody is really interested, maybe I will, but I don't really want to talk about it. But I have a small income through something that I do online. And I have a smaller, it's much smaller income from making YouTube videos, which I would like to grow, because that is what I find what's the word? I have the most satisfaction from. Not necessarily these videos, although the fact that it's serving it's helping, benefiting somebody actually does give me quite a degree of satisfaction. But I quite more like the bigger projects. Even if it's a daily vlog, but not just specific for Deliveroo. Anyway, and maybe I'll do some teaching in Thailand, maybe. But I'm actually in the process of getting a student visa, so I'm going to learn Thai, and I'll be in Thailand for at least a year, money dependent. And then after that, I don't know what's going to happen. Whilst the cost of living over there is lower, there is still a cost involved, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I do have a little bit of money saved, and I need more. Hence the Deliveroo 2 week. I think I can make $1,000. I'm pretty sure I can make $1,000 in 2 weeks. I need more than that, but that'll be a good start. So that leads me to the question. It's not really a question, because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm putting it to you people. Okay, this is my personality talking about a relatively dry subject. I'm hoping that people will be interested in watching a daily vlog in and around Thailand, because I don't typically always stay in the same country. About interesting things. I have a big group of friends over in Thailand who live there. And when I was there the last couple of years, we typically did things most days, like cliff jumping, fruit foraging. We did a flash mob, which was huge. We cycle up the mountain Doi Sutet together. We run up the trail together up the mountain, and then run back down. With the running down is a bit more dangerous, but yeah. So I'm hoping that people would be interested in some degree of daily vloggage relating to that. All feedback is appreciated on what people might be interested in seeing. I'm definitely open to feedback, as long as it's got nothing to do with the sex industry, because that isn't something which interests me. I'm not criticising anyone for doing that, but that isn't what my videos are going to be about. Maybe people will be wondering why Thailand, and it all started from the festival that I went to almost 3 years ago. I went there on holiday. I had a very well paid job, and I went there, and then the next year, or 6 months later, I decided that I didn't. That was what decided for me that I was not interested in a conventional life of a 9 till 5, whether it be in an office or in a factory or a warehouse, whatever. I just wasn't interested in that. I didn't want to do something in my life that would not bring me happiness, and then go, oh look, now I'm retired and I'm old and I have to do things like drive a Volvo. I wouldn't call myself a gambler, but I'm not risk adverse. I'm happy to roll the dice if I think that the possible benefits outweigh the risk. I think that's how you decide the difference between risk and reckless. I don't know. When people do this, I quite like pulling forward, like when the lights are green, just to remind them that they're parked on the pedestrian crossing. What happens here is the right lane. Look, that's what I'm doing here. I'm just like, yeah, and then he pulls off. What happens here is the right-hand lane, and the lane closest to me turns right, and it's always gridlock. Well, not always, but it's got the heaviest traffic. And then the middle lane doesn't turn right; it kind of goes straight on, and that's slightly less busy, but still busy. And then the right-hand lane is usually quiet, because it does go straight on too, but it turns left, so that it goes a different way. So all lanes go a different way. What happens is the people in the middle lane try and cut in front of the people in the right lane. What happens in every big junction like that all across the UK every day. People wait until the last second to get into the lane which is the most desired. I did it too when I drove. Everyone does it to a degree, I think. But that's what happens here, so that he didn't want to give the pedestrian crossing space so nobody else could pull in front of him. But I think sometimes you just have to let people be inconsiderate and just say, I'm bigger than that. But when you're in busy traffic, I think it's easy to forget that. The same as it is easy to forget that it's better to be nice than it is to be selfish and I don't know. Anyway, this is coming to the end of the video now. I don't actually, the micro SD card fills up before I get to my last drop, but I get within about 10 metres of the door. It's at the university. And I think we made it. So I've just got a little bit of audio editing. And Bob's your uncle. Then I've just got to render it and upload it. So I've got I think I've got 2 more days of footage now. I'll start working on the next one tomorrow. And again, keep the feedback. I'm sure Maxwell will give me a few comments on that. Yeah. So just the last point, anybody interested in working for Deliveroo before Christmas for some extra money, there's still the opportunity to get some extra money from my referral code, the CR29985 I think it is, after you do 20 deliveries. So there's still the opportunity to get some extra money for Christmas. Everyone's interested in that, me for different reasons, but still interested in money. And the scooter drivers get even more. Yeah, so I don't really know what else to say now. Sorry about the silence. I guess really it would just be good to say thank you for everyone commenting and asking questions. I get comments literally every day, so it's nice. It's nice to get all the comments and questions. I like answering them. The lemony orange just started, and someone who's really enjoying the job, so congrats to that. I hope it all works out well and it's not too cold. Yeah, there's good points and bad points to working for Deliveroo. I'm not going to lie about that, but it's definitely served the purpose to me. You know, I had the opportunity when I first got back and I needed to earn money. I applied for various different jobs, and then like a percentage of them got back to me, and I sort of learnt a bit more about them. And then the more I learnt about them, the more I was like, oh, so soul destroying. I really don't want to do this. And then I would just try and pick apart the job description to just say no, I didn't want to go for an interview for it. And I'm not trying to make myself out to be desirable. The fact that I've got gaps in my CV from spending 9 months and then 6 months and then 9 months in Thailand makes me pretty unemployable, but or at least reduces my employment prospects. I could still have done it. But yeah, there's good and bad. This guy's got good cadence. It's good to spin. Chris Froome has proved that. Spinners are winners. Spinning is good. Or one thing I would say about that. So when you put it in the big dark, and that's called grinding when you go slowly. And then when you're in the granny gear spinning, that's called spinning. It's more efficient energy-wise to spin. And so you guys are probably saying, well, you should grind then because you're overweight. Yeah. But getting through a whole shift, it's easier to have high cadence. The only downside, another big downside of grinding is that you can mess up your cartilage in your knees if you do it too often. But the only upside of grinding is I find that with the resistance of the pedals, it tends to take a degree of weight off of your ass and your nads whilst you're cycling. So sometimes it can be nice to just mix it up with spinning and grinding, or sort of the midway. But this is the end of the video, so come back either tomorrow or the day after for another video. I shall endeavour to do it, and thank you for your comments, thank you for your subscriptions, your likes, questions. Take it easy guys, I shall see you soon.